In what ways does your media product use, develop, and challenge forms and conventions of real media products? The genre of our trailer is youth culture, and some conventions of this genre include the portrayal of males and females and how real issues are depicted. At the beginning of the process of creating our trailer, we researched the forms and conventions of other real trailers. We deconstructed several films of the same genre as ours, and this gave us inspiration into what we should include in our trailer. The films we deconstructed included Quadrophenia, Fish Tank, The Weekender, and a short film, RGB. In most youth culture films, the portrayal of males and females contrasts. For example, males are usually the protagonists and tend to be rebelling, whereas females are seen as lovers who are alluring for the male characters. This can be seen in films such as Quadrophenia, a popular youth culture film where the male, Jimmy, is the protagonist and is seen rebelling against his work, family, and friends. However, the female, Steph, is an attractive, charming character who tempts Jimmy into falling for her. In our trailer we have used these conventions. The male is the protagonist featured throughout the trailer and is seen rebelling in shots such as the smoking or running scenes. The female is briefly shown in the shot where the male protagonist and she are in bed together. This portrays a sexual aspect to our film and gives the audience an insight into what they will be seeing. For reasons such as this, we have given our film an 18 certificate, which can be seen on our film poster. After researching this topic, we found that 18 certificate films usually include strong violence, frequent strong language, strong portrayals of sexual activity, and discriminatory language. Real issues are usually depicted in youth culture films, such as drugs, partying, and sexual relations. An example of this is in The Weekender. Scenes of drug taking and selling, partying, sex, and hypocrisy are depicted throughout. We have shown these real issues in our trailers so that it becomes more relatable for the audience. This makes the film more attractive for younger, teenage viewers as they can relate to the topics represented. An example of how we have shown this in our trailer is through shots such as drugs being taken and sold, smoking, the girl and boy in bed, and running away, symbolizing him running from his troubles. Another common convention of a youth culture film is teenagers rebelling. They may be rebelling against their parents, the law, education, or society. A film which shows this is Fish Tank. The protagonist is a girl who is rebelling against her mother and uses dancing as an escapism. In our trailer, we have shown the boy defying his father and acting out in ways such as smoking, drinking, and drugs. At the beginning of our trailer, he is shown in an isolated location, and the voiceover tells the audience that his mother has recently died.
I lost my mother, lost my home, lost my mind.
This gives the audience an insight into why he is behaving in these ways and draws in their attention. Another way of ensuring the audience do not become uninterested is by using a slow beginning and a fast-paced middle and end. This builds tension throughout the trailer. We are inspired to use this convention by the trailer for Electric Children, starting with a slow-paced insight into the film and then going on to a faster-paced action shots from the film. Todorov suggested most narratives start with a state of equilibrium, in which life is normal and the protagonist is happy. This state of normality is disrupted by an outside force, which has to be fought against in order to return to a state of equilibrium. This relates to our film, however the equilibrium, when the mother is alive, is not shown in the trailer. Therefore, her death would be the cause of the disequilibrium, and the main content of the trailer, moving to Brighton and so on, is the attempt to regain a state of equilibrium. The new equilibrium is not shown in the trailer, as we want to leave the audience with a cliffhanger of how the film will end. Those are just some of the ways we have used forms and conventions of real media products. Here are some of the ways we have developed them. Mise-en-scène is the arrangement of everything that appears in the framing of a shot. In our trailer, we have used the mise-en-scène of the film to represent the character's feeling and temperament. An example of how we have done this is through weather and location. At the start of our trailer, the setting is at Sheppey, an isolated place with dull weather. This represents the boy's emotions as his mother has just died, so he will be feeling upset and lonely. The location then changes to Brighton, and as shown by the voiceover, the boy is following his mother's aspirations of becoming a mod. The mod era is commonly linked to Brighton, and we have used the Mod's book by Richard Barnes to represent the mod aspect. The location represents a fun, new and interesting time for the boy, and this is shown through shots such as him on Brighton Pier and him gradually changing into mod clothing, such as a suit and parka. The weather in these scenes is bright, which represents a joyful time for the protagonist and also shows a transition of time in the trailer. The location and weather then changes as we see the boy revisiting his mother's grave through a shot of the boy at the gravestone. We then see the boy acting out in ways such as knocking things over, throwing a bottle, and running from the police, shown in the shot of the boy running in the dark with flashing lights on him. All of these scenes are set in a village where his family and he lived before his mother's death, when he then moved to Brighton. The weather in these shots is snowy, which represents coldness in his emotions. It also shows another transition of time in the trailer, as the weather has changed from sunny in Brighton to snowy in the village. Aristotle's narrative theory suggests that a narrative should be created within a unity of time, place, and action. That is, it should all take place in the same location, in real time, with all action moving towards a logical conclusion. Our trailer goes against this, as it is set over a long period of time and takes place in several locations. One way in which we have developed conventions of most films is by having two target audiences for our trailer. A way we have determined this in our trailer is through the reviews. The reviews in the trailer represent the two audiences of our film: the older audience, who would be watching to see the mod aspects and recollecting, and the younger audience, who are watching to relate to issues depicted and the protagonists of the film. The review, which will relate to the older audience, says, "The best mod film since Quadrophenia, The Guardian." The link to Quadrophenia is likely to catch the audience's attention, as it is a respected film about the 60s. The Guardian is also a very valued newspaper and web page people are likely to believe reviews by it. The other review, which is likely to attract the younger audiences, is "A genuine representation of today's youths, The Daily Mail." This view is likely to draw the younger audience attention in, as it directly refers to them. The Daily Mail also covers and reviews recent topics, such as films and celebrities, and is a largely respected newspaper. A convention which we have developed in our trailer is the common representation of youths. In our trailer, we have shown the boy with his hood up in scenes when he is misbehaving, a common impression that all teenagers wear hoods and rebel. We have conformed to the stereotypes in these scenes, as it represents his behaviour and hides his identity while he is taking part in these antisocial activities, such as kicking over bins and throwing things. This convention can be seen in films such as Kidulthood and 8 Mile. We have also challenged conventions in several ways. One way in which we have challenged the conventions of a teaser trailer is by using shots from an actual media product. We have used pages from the Mod book by Richard Barnes in our trailer to represent the boy's actions. Firstly, we show the boy looking through the book, and then we have shown pages from the book throughout the trailer. The pages shown represents what the protagonist is doing. For example, a page of mod clothes is shown, and then a shot of the boy getting changed into mod clothes is shown. Or a page of the Vespers is shown, and then a shot of the boy on the Vesper is shown. This portrays how the protagonist is basing his life around the elements in the book, and also represents how he is attempting to become a mod. This challenges conventions of a typical trailer, as we are using intertextuality to demonstrate the mod era in our film. We have also interlinked the star and characters headings into these pages. To do this, we created our own pages which have the text wanted on, for example, starring Harry Littlefield, and then put these pages into the page turns and film them individually. By using a black and white effect over our trailer, it symbolises nostalgia. By doing this, we are challenging the forms and conventions of many teaser trailers, as people may believe that black and white films are always from the past. However, our film is set in the present day but represents aspects from a different era, the 1960s. We have used colour in the title and reviews of the trailer. This shows the audience that it is a modern film, as the technology used is displaying recent skills. The title includes the Royal Air Force roundel in the O. We have used the intertextuality of this symbol, which commonly represents mods, to show that the boy is fighting a battle in life, much like the soldiers in the RAF would be. Another way that we have challenged the forms and conventions of real trailers is through the voiceover. We chose to have the protagonist telling the story over the trailer.
They say in order to gain something, you must lose something.
This is representing the boy gaining happiness through the loss of his mother.
I lost my mother, I lost my home, I lost my mind.
This is giving the audience an insight into the potential problems the protagonist will face in the film.
I followed my mother's footsteps. They took me to Brighton.
This is telling them why he has moved to Brighton and enables them to understand the trailer more clearly. At the end of the trailer, he says,
In order to find who I was, I had to lose who I was.
This tells the audience that the reason for the boy rebelling is to allow him to rediscover himself after the bereavement of his mother.